Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar, starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. 1 month after the Tobago House of Assembly unanimously endorsed the Tobago Marine Parks Bill 2026, the legislation has advanced to the Chief Parliamentary Counsel for final review before entering Parliament. The THA expedited this maritime safety framework following a tragic jet ski accident. Well, it was an accident, but the person should be charged with murder, though. At Pigeon Point Heritage Park that claimed the life of Angelica Jogi. Now, the thing about it is, people will say it's an accident. When drivers, or somebody in this case that is on the sea, is acting in a reckless manner, you should be held accountable for it and you should be charged with murder. Because you know what you're doing is endangering the lives of others. THA's Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, expects the draft review to conclude within a week, noting the bill amends the THA Act to legally empower the Assembly to regulate commercial watercraft, issue marine permits, and enforce strict safety guidelines. The legislation introduces heavy penalties, including fines up to 100,000 TT dollars and mandatory prison sentences for unauthorized entry or breaches in protected areas like the Bucco Reef Marine Park. Wonderful. I love how I'm hearing the prison part of it, the imprisonment part of it. While the THA maintains an emergency injunction banning local jet ski operations until full enactment, the bill faces mixed reactions from reef tour operators here because all they care about is money, and water sports stakeholders over its strict restrictions and high fines. No, have your fun, but not in areas where people are bathing. Over 30 key government agencies were present in Mayaro as Minister of Culture and Community Development Michelle Benjamin and Mayaro MP Nicholas Morris hosted a community development outreach. The expo is part of the government's push to bring services closer to citizens. Yeah, and yet you're basically pushing them away by standing with extremely corrupt TTPS. Now, spinning top and bad at this point in time, we're heading to a landslide defeat in 2030. You're doing good like this, and you're doing extremely bad in other ways. The expo in Mayaro was the 4th edition of the Ministry of Culture and Community Development's Outreach Initiative. Minister of Culture and Community Development Michelle Benjamin commended Mayaro MP Nicholas Morris for encouraging her to come to his constituency. She said the initiative reflects the government's commitment to the citizenry. Right about now, okay, that sounds really wonderful, and I'm not saying no, they are performing well when it pertains to certain things. The development of infrastructure, and the reviving our economy in certain ways. But when you are increasing taxes, fees, and fines, and now also standing in solidarity with an extremely rogue, a very rogue police service, you are being counterproductive and you're overshadowing all the good that you're doing with a lot of bad.
This initiative was born out of conversation and consultation with the Honorable Prime Minister that gave me a commitment to go into the constituencies, rural constituencies, and make sure that no one is left behind. You remember when our Honorable Prime Minister took her oath, she said, whether you are in the plains, whether you are in the lagoon, whether you are in the farm, we see you. And basically, this initiative, see you. Rural constituencies, we see you.
She added the government is doing its part to remove the perception that access to state resources is limited to the capital city.
Do not stay and say, Port of Spain is where the resources are. My ministry's commitment to you is to bring every government agency right where you live, right where you reside. For too long, we never had access to community centers. And I'm telling you, the government is working on changing that. Every resources, every program will be reflected in community centers.
MP Morris thanked Minister Benjamin as he praised her work ethic.
This is part of the process to rebuild and re-energize this country, going community to community. 10 years of neglect cannot be reversed in 1 year. But people like Minister Benjamin have started that process. And today is just 1% of the work you see that Minister Benjamin is doing.
The National Commission for Self-Help, the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman, Serval, and HDC were just some of the state agencies present to share information with the people of Mayaro.
Weather report for Tuesday, 26 May 2026, Trinidad and Tobago. The weather forecast for Tuesday, 26 May 2026 in Trinidad and Tobago predicts fair to partly cloudy skies, with daytime maximum temperatures reaching 31 degrees Celsius to 33 degrees Celsius and overnight minimums dropping to 24 degrees Celsius. According to data from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service (TTMS), there is a significant concentration of Saharan dust present in the atmosphere. Sensitive individuals should take necessary health precautions. Conditions will be breezy throughout the day, and while the day is generally expected to remain fair, brief morning or afternoon showers could pop up over a few areas. Atmospheric and marine conditions. Saharan dust, high dense haze concentration. Air quality is lowered, expect dull skies. Wind speed steady easterly winds blowing at 15 to 25 km/h with higher gusts possible near any localized showers. Marine outlook, sea conditions remain moderate. Open waters will see waves ranging from 2.0 to 2.5 meters, while sheltered areas will stay calm at under 1.0 meter but can turn choppy during gusty winds. Sun time: sunrise is at 5:42 a.m. and sunset occurs at 6:23 p.m.
Regional news now. Dr. Irfan Ali has called on Guyanese to embrace gratitude, spiritual maturity, and national unity as the country marks its 60th anniversary of independence, declaring that 60 years is evidence of endurance and that a thankful nation is a strong nation. Speaking during a special Thanksgiving service at the Better Hope Assembly of God Church on Sunday, President Ali framed the nation's upcoming Diamond Jubilee as a moment not only for celebration, but for sober reflection on God's sustaining hand over Guyana through trials and triumphs. And that, of course, is really good. Bearing in mind, I'm a born-again Christian, so I may not agree with everything when it pertains to what he believes in personally. But definitely, when it pertains to thanking God in general for your country, that is good. Voters turned out at the Rose Heights Community Center in St. James, Jamaica, as Labor Day activities focused on restoring the facility following damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. Work is being carried out to repair the damaged roof and other sections of the property, while efforts are also underway to introduce a green space to enhance the community environment. So that sounds nice. But while you are repairing the roof and the building itself, you have to reinforce it to ensure that it can withstand a hurricane in the future. As much as I pray that it never happens again, reality says that it may very well. And therefore, you have to prepare, and you have to be proactive, and you have to try, as I said before, reinforce all these different structures and buildings to ensure that it could withstand these strong winds in the future, at least in a better way.
All right, I'm Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay, and today we are here at the Rose Heights Community Center, where we have selected as a parish project. This project was selected among a raft of projects submitted, and it was selected because of its purpose. It serves as a community center for the communal gathering and also as a shelter, emergency shelter, and that is why it was selected. Other shelters and community centers serve the same purpose, but this one was also within a reachable budget compared to what we have allocated from the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, which is $500,000. But the renovation that is about to take place here, or is taking place now, is to the tune of $3.8 million. And of course, the St. James Municipal Corporation will have to foot the rest of the bill. But as we approach the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season, it is important that we do restoration to our shelters and also find alternative shelters to the ones that have been destroyed by Hurricane Melissa, so that we can be in a better place, be more prepared in the season. So that is why we have selected this shelter, and I thank the members who are here today, a wide range of stakeholders from public sector to private sector. They all came out to support, and we appreciate what they are doing for us and with us, and they yielded to the call and they presented themselves today. We also have a section here being done as a green space, a herbal garden, and a regular garden with the usual plants. And of course the herbal garden with mint and thyme and you name it. So that is what we're doing at the community center here in Rose Heights.
The Africa Barbados Heritage Initiative launched a new digital platform to preserve the shared history between Barbados and Liberia, while deepening regional cultural, educational, and diplomatic ties. Founded by Ambassador Llewellyn Witherspoon, a descendant of the original 1865 Barbadian immigrants to Liberia, those that left Barbados to go back to their homeland or their ancestors' homeland. The organization created this database to act as an archival repository for ancestral research and historical documentation surrounding the transatlantic Back to Africa movement. The initiative serves as a crucial digital bridge following major diplomatic milestones, including the landmark 2026 signing of the Barbados-Liberia Visa Waiver Agreement and the unveiling of the Crozierville Presidential Monument. International news now. On Memorial Day, President Donald Trump spoke at Arlington National Cemetery to salute and honor the U.S. service members who gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Standing before veterans, military families, and officials at the sacred burial grounds, he laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier during the annual National Observance Ceremony. In his address, the president praised the courage of the fallen, stating, "This Memorial Day, we salute them, we exalt them, and we thank them for all that we have and for all that they gave." Yes, they gave their lives in order to preserve independence and democracy in America. They gave everything. God bless our fallen heroes. The commemorative event concluded with a traditional moment of silence and the playing of taps to honor the legacy of American service personnel across all generations.
Present! Present! Hard!
The Russian Federation recommends that foreigners leave Kyiv as soon as possible and its residents not to approach military and administrative infrastructure facilities. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reported. At least they're warning them, which is good. You started this war, though, and now you want to play boldface and probably end it. Russia again and Putin again. But nevertheless, and maybe at times, Zelensky did provoke when he shouldn't have done either. But I mean, Putin started this war. The attack on Starobelsk has exhausted the patience and the Russian armed forces and are starting to systematically strike Ukrainian defense industry enterprises in Kyiv, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry. According to the Foreign Ministry's statement, the Russian Federation will strike both decision-making centers and at command posts in Ukraine. Now, of course, as I said before, at least they're claiming that they're going to strike military places and government official places. So it's a war at the end of the day. It's a war that Putin started, but it's a war at the end of the day. So at least if it is, they keep their word to only strike these places and also give residents, civilians, the chance to be able to leave first. At least that's good. And that's something hard for me to say, because Russia is a terrible, I love the Russian country. I love the Russian people. Once again, the communist leader, the dictator, evil, very evil. Putin, very evil. Senior American official to Al Jazeera says Hezbollah ignores repeated demands for a ceasefire against Israel, including in the latest warning. Israel will respond to all attacks directed against its forces and citizens. This is not the Biden administration, Since the 17th of April, Hezbollah has launched 1,000 drones and 700 missiles to disrupt negotiations between Lebanon and Israel. Hezbollah is fully responsible for the current escalation by violating the ceasefire since the beginning of March. Hezbollah seeks to deprive the Lebanese of the opportunity to achieve peace and restore rehabilitation and development. And of course, they're going to continue to do so. The Lebanese government has no control over the terrorist organization Hezbollah, and that is why Israel has to finish the job and utterly destroy the Hezbollah terrorist organization. And for what I heard, the king of the world, President Trump, gave Israel the green light. I'm telling you, he does have the spirit of the Antichrist upon him, because he believes that he can tell all nations' leaders what they can and cannot do. I fully support the war against terror in Iran. Remove the Ayatollah. But you cannot be telling your allies what they can and they cannot do, especially Israel. Israel is your closest ally, and you have to be the one to always give Israel the green light to defend themselves. Utter madness.
Bible quote of the day. Romans 12:1-4. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. For I say, through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. For as we have many members in one body, but all the members do not have the same function.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's headline news. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.